So I just got this English ale yeast today, and it looked really coagulated and chunky. Took forever to shake it up into bits, and there's my starter. See if I can just to focus. It's still chunky. Just put it in about a minute.
This is the next day. Last night after I shot the previous video and the stir bar hit it for, I don't know, about a half hour, it didn't look quite as chunky. It looked pretty even. This morning, let me zoom in here, we have a lot more action in here and a lot more chunkiness. Let me turn off the stir bar for a second. Let's see. There it is. Stuff all settles right out. Let's fill her up. I'm going to fill 5 gallons into my boil pot, which I'll be using to mash in, and another 3 for sparging into the little pot, which I'll heat up on the stove inside. So I've got all my water in here now. Got 5 gallons in the big stainless steel pot, 3 gallons in the little pot that'll go on the stove in the house, and this one will be my brew pot. Okay, so I'm measuring out the Cascade hops now. 1 ounce. One ounce of Cascade, and I have these nifty hop balls. Okay, because this is an oddly accurate recipe, it says 9 pounds, 12.6 ounces of pale malt. So I zeroed out the scale, got my 9 pounds, 12 ounces, and actually have that much left from what they gave me at the store. And I got the 13.6 ounces of caramel malt and the 2.7 ounces of Carapils. My hops additions ready. Those are each 1 ounce of the Cascade. This one is the Cascade and Citra for the 5-minute edition, and then I ran out of my hot balls, so I have a little paint strainer bag with the last 1 ounce edition of Cascade for boil out. And there's my hops. So here's my burner setup. Just an old turkey fryer base, and my tank. Okay, so we're doing brew-in-a-bag. So if you look in the pot, I'm going to put the steamer tray in the bottom. So in case I have to add, my hands are clean, don't worry. In case I have to turn on the water and the heat, and I got 2 bags. You turn them so the stitching side is out, so the grains don't get stuck in the stitching. Put one in. These are just 5-gallon paint strainer bags from the store. Put one in one way, put one in the other way. These are cleaned and reused from last time. Put that around here. Do this before we heat up the water. And a clip on either side just to keep it from falling in by accident. And that's it. We're going to turn the flame on and get her heated up. So we're just heating up the strike water, and I have my remote probe. See, there's the base unit over there, and there is the remote. I have the alarm set to 160, and it's at 132 right now. So when that hits 160, we'll turn it off because... Okay, so we hit our temperature. Now we're adding the grains. I'm going to stir and add them a scoop at a time. Make sure they all get wet as they go in. Keep going.
all in. Alright. Doughy dust. 154, close enough. We'll just leave it open for a little bit. Alright, come back in a bit. Alright, so the mash is over. Mashed for an hour at 150 degrees or so. Get my temperature probe out of there. I'm going to pull this bag up. Get the clips off here. Bunch this bag together. You have the strainer ready to go. Get this up a couple times, get the grains to kind of settle in the bottom of the bag. Kind of grab with 2 hands. You ready? Let that drain for a minute. Kind of, we don't want to squeeze it too much, but I do want to let it drain. Take our clips and clip the bag closed. There we go. And over here we have the sparge water heated up inside to 170 degrees, and we're just going to ladle this over the bag. And I know on my pot, if I go up to right about here, we'll have 6 gallons of wort pre-boil. So I have started with 5 gallons in the pot. The grains are going to soak up about 1 gallon. So now we have 4 gallons in there, and I have used about 2 gallons or so, give or take, of this sparge water. We'll top off to 6 gallons. Get a little bit on one side, a little bit on the other, some in the middle. Kind of like a fly sparge. But we're just ladling the hot water to top off the boil amount. But might as well rinse out the grains, get a better efficiency out of it that way. Kind of, you can come over here, you can look inside, see how they're draining. Can you see in there? It's alright. You can hear it draining away. Nice slow drain. Get the sugars all out of the grains. Come back in a minute when I'm done with this and we'll start to boil. So we have our boil volume up now. I only have a 7-gallon pot. We're putting 6 gallons in, so I have some firm cap alive. I'm going to add the heat right now. Get that fired up. Whew. Got the firm cap control. Going to keep us from having boilovers. It says 2 to 3 drops per gallon. Well, this stuff doesn't really come out in drops. It's more like, I don't know, goopy. I counted the drops out once, and a whole dropper full is good for a couple gallons. So we just do 1 dropper full, 2 dropper fulls, and then kind of like a half. And that's enough. Oh, we're back up to 160 degrees too. Give that a little stir. And quiet down that. I have to be kind of careful at the beginning of the boil. But towards the end it'll be down far enough we can have a little bit harder boil. I took out the steamer thing that was at the bottom because I don't have the bags in there anymore. And we'll get a boil here in a minute. Okay, so the temperature is just now hit a little over 200 degrees. I'm going to give it a little stir. And I'm going to turn down the heat a bit so we can hit the boiling point a little bit slower. We don't want to hit it too fast, we'll have a boil over. Turn it down to about the point where I normally have it when I'm just boiling. This will take a minute or two. There we go. We got a boil. Not a rolling boil yet. I'll turn it up here in just a second. As soon as I get a rolling boil, I'll start my timer. Turn it up just a tad. Okay, that's a boil. I'm calling it. Timer on. 90-minute boil on this recipe. Okay, so we're at a good rolling boil. We're coming up on the 85-minute mark. It's going to be my first hops addition. So I'm going to turn it down to a simmer, almost to flame out, but just enough to leave the flame so it doesn't go out. Come over here, grab my first hops addition. 1 ounce of Cascade. I got these hot balls at a Oriental market. Steamer trays or something, I guess. Get that in there, get it wet, and hook it on the side. Let those soak for just a second at this little bit lower temperature, and slowly bring the heat back up. There we go, back up to a boil. I'm going to keep boiling here for a while. My next addition is at 15 minutes, so we got about an hour plus, and then I'll be back. So here's my Wort chiller. I've got a aquarium pump pumping water from the full bin of water through the chiller. Right now it's just sitting in there, basically pre-rinsing it in the water that I'm going to be using to chill with, and then when the boil hits 15 minutes or so, I'll put it in here so it can sanitize. And once it's sanitized at the end of the boil, then we'll run, when we're ready to cool it, we'll just turn on the pump the cool water through. After we hit about 110 degrees, then I'll throw ice in the bucket and recirculate the ice water, and I'll chill it down pretty quick. I'll see that in a minute. Okay, we're hitting the 15-minute mark. It's time to pull the hops up temporarily. Honey, can you grab the hops while I put the, let those drip out. Put this right in the middle. The tubes over to the side. Hang that back on the side. And crank up the heat for a little while because this cooled it off pretty good when you put it in at first. Get the heat back up to a boil. We're not running the water yet. We just want to sanitize the Wort chiller. Okay, we're just coming up on 10 minutes. This is the second addition of 1 ounce of Cascade hops. We're going to turn down the heat again. Ah, crap. Oh well, it went out. That's alright. I'm going to put that in, lob it up and down a few times, get it wet, hang it on the side. Those hot balls definitely keep all the bits and pieces from being in the brew later. Back to a boil. And that's the 10-minute addition. Come back at 5 minutes. Alright, we're coming up on our 5-minute addition. This is 1 ounce of Cascade and a 1/4 ounce of, not Galaxy, but Citra. Turn down the flame. Try not to let it go out. And see, there's more hops in that. Can you zoom in on that?
4, 3, 2, 1. 5 minutes.
Boom.
Boom. Give it a little dunkaroo. Hang it on the side there. Give it a second to soak and turn the flame back up a little. You can see, if you look around the edges here, zoom in, you can see the hops residue from the last edition is kind of sitting on the side after it boiled up. It's kind of good. We don't want all them little bits. Alright, we just got a few seconds left of the boil here, 15 seconds. I'm going to turn out the flame, and I'm going to throw in that last 1 ounce addition of Cascade. This is the most hops I've put into one brew. Yep, there's the timer. Flame out, and turn off the timer. Alright. Put that kind of down in there. Flames out. No more boiling time. We do want to get that good and wet. It's going to be in there while we're chilling. Here we go. And we're going to go ahead and plug in. Plug in the chiller. So now I got nice cold water running through 50 foot. I'll just run that outside for now. The first part you can run out. Once that water level in there drops down to where the pump's at, we'll throw in the ice. Look in here, you can see cold break starting to form. Got our hops bags in there. We'll give them a little stir. We want to get that last bit of flavor out of that last addition. That'll be in there a while it's cooling off. It's not getting any boil time. Like a big tea bag. Just took a 1 gallon paint strainer bag, put the hops in and tied it off. Works pretty well. That's what I used before I got the hop balls. So it's cooling off, and I'll sit here and we'll take the copper coils, grab it. That's why I have these UV gloves on, because this is really hot on the output side, really cool on the input side. But just stir this up and down, because where the water comes in on the first part of the coil, it'll be really cool at the bottom. It'll still be really warm at the top. This effectively mixes up the liquids in there a little bit at a time. Every 15 or 30 seconds or so, I'll mix it about until we get down to the temp we need. I'll get my thermometer back in here. We'll come back when I'm at about 110 degrees. So we're going to add ice in here, in the freezer. And I'll have a gallon jug of water just frozen solid. That'll help keep it cold. And I didn't save enough ice this week. I bought a bag. Put all that in there. So we got good cold water going through our chiller. Do a little bit more. Just up and down a bit. Mix it up. Our temperature is down around 100 degrees now. This will come down to in about 6-7 minutes. About another 5 minutes, we'll be down to pitching temperature. Come back then.
So we're at about 75 degrees right now. I'm trying to get it down just a couple more degrees here. I took the gloves off. Once it gets down to the temperature, it's not so hot coming out. I can touch the coils. And 74. Pretty close. Don't want to go down too far. 73. We'll call that room temperature. So take out my temperature probe. We're going to take out the hot balls. Those drain here for just a moment. Get all the hoppy goodness out. They do soak up some of the liquid. You'll lose a little bit. I still got my chiller going right now, so it's still dropping down a little bit. Get that bag out in a little bit after I start pouring. If you look over here, I got my carboy all sanitized and ready. Funnel ready to go. I'm just going to pour it right in from the pot. Just about done here. That one edition has more hops in it, so it's taking a little bit longer. Put these off to the side. This one dangle a little longer. Oh, that's the 15-minute mark. Took about 15 minutes to get it down from boiling to yeast pitching temperatures. Okay, we'll call that done. Put it on my lid over here. Take my Wort chiller out. Set it back over in its container. Deal with that. Water helped clean it up already. So, I got my pot. Follow me over here. Okay, so I got all the Wort in carboy. And I want to top it off to the 5.5 gallons, but I want to see where my gravity's at first. In the jar. There we go. Now I already measured the amount pre-boil was at 050, about 053, 054. And my goodness, we are at 1070, 1072, yeah, 1072. So we're going to add enough water to top up. So I added, take a look at this, not quite a gallon, about 3 quarts. So let's shake this up, see where we're at now. Stop sticking to the side. It's still stronger than it needs to be anyway. We're still at like 1062, something like that. It's over 1060 and we're at the amount that I need. So I'm going to call that good. We're going to have a little bit stronger beer than the recipe shot for. It means my efficiency was pretty good. Gotta be careful pouring this in. Now this was just light DME. And this is a crazy flocculent yeast, so it's all at the bottom. Here it comes. That's the yeast. It's gloppy. Make sure I don't get my stir bar trying to come out. I don't want the stir bar in there. No, it won't hurt it if it is, but if I gotta do another starter between now and then. Let's put a little water in there. Get the last little bit out that way. There we go. Stir bar still in the flask. And yeast has been pitched. Take a look at that. That is some. That's my first time using. This is that English ale yeast, WLP 002, and according to the sources on the internet, it's just looks like that. It's a chunky monkey, they called it. Looked kind of like cottage cheese floating in there, but that's what it's supposed to be. That's what it's supposed to be. Who am I to argue? Okay, got the bung on there. Whew. Lift up by the bottom. My blow-off tube already ready. And we're gonna shake it. Get that air in there. The yeast is happy. So this is where the beer is going to rest for the next couple of weeks while it ferments. Got the blow-off tube going into a 3-liter jug with just a little bit of sanitizer, enough for the end of the tube to stick in. We have it go down too deep, then it won't want to bubble out as easily. And we'll come back maybe tomorrow and see how well it's fermenting. You can see we got a good corrosion going on the brew. And lots of bubbles coming up. It is rolling. There we go. Good stuff. You can see where the level is. And yet some more. Oh, good. Gravy right there. It's alive. Very much alive.